Today we're talking about old vintage Christmas cards and the immense value some of these can be worth. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to talk about vintage Christmas cards. Just those old Christmas cards that you can find in attics, at garage sales, thrift stores, flea markets, antique malls, local live auctions, pretty much anywhere. I can pull up some vintage Christmas cards. And some of these can sell for thousands of dollars if you know which ones to look for. So there are a ton of valuable Christmas cards, ones you might be surprised, things that you might not even realize existed. Now this first one here is kind of like an oddball one. Most musical groups, believe it or not, sent out Christmas cards to people that worked for them. Business associates, record labels, and all that sort of thing. A lot of people are going to say, well, how are you ever going to find something like this? There were tons of these sent out. They could have sent out a couple thousand a year for 10 plus years. That's the point. You never know where one of these sorts of things will turn up. Most musicians, performers, famous people send out specific Christmas cards designed just for them. They turn up in just everyday households in the attic of somebody's house. Price-wise, this went for almost $1,600. It's an Alice in Chains signed Christmas card from them to their employees. Here's another example. This is Prince Charles and Diane. It's signed by them. This is their official Christmas card. Now, again, this is something someone's going to say, well, there's not many of these out there. Every year Charles has been living, Prince Charles, he has had Christmas cards in his name. Before he was old enough to do it, they would do the kids, and they would send out a group kids card as well. There could be thousands, again, of these sent out each and every year. Multiply this times 40, 50, 60 years, and you get the point on how many of these sorts of things there could be out there. I don't think a day goes by where one of these doesn't sell. There are constantly cards like this on eBay. Again, it depends on the year as to how valuable, the photo, the age of the kids, the whole works. Now here's a Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Now this is an example to show you that they don't all look like some big fancy thing. It's very generic, very plain on the front. If you're digging through a box of something and you just see a couple of little stamps like that on it, you might just keep on looking. But when you open it up, it's signed by Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip on the inside of this. It has a picture that's unrelated to them. So if you're not paying much close attention to what this is, the royal seals on the front, you're not realizing who the names are, you could have just walked right by this. Now this sold for over $300, multiple bids. Again, this is something that is still being sent out to right this very second for Queen Elizabeth. So again, these are things that are out there. These are things that you can find in regular households. Who knows who could have picked these up at a sale? Who knows whose house these could be dwelling in right now? Now, Christmas cards themselves go way, way, way back. I've seen some examples that were hand-drawn going back to the colonial era to some extent. Now, this is a Victorian one from the 1870s or so. Now, this is from a coffee company. I've had many of these sorts myself. So these sorts do honestly show up. Very, very unique, very, very nice for this time frame, this day and age. People actually use these same designs from these earlier ones to create brand new cards. A lot of these earlier ones, the copyright would be dead as well. There's a lot. These were all from Korea. Now you may wonder, well, how would these get over here? Well, this is a GI pack, basically. These were marketed to GIs over there during the Korean War. You'd also find them going back down to World War II as well. They're very unique, very interesting. It has both Korean and English written on it. It's all dated 1950s from the Korean War era. Now, most of these come in a little packet, as you see right here. I've never run into a packet myself, but I have run into individual ones of these in collections from GI estates and things like that. They do show up. You can also find some that were printed in Japan or China going all the way back to around 1900. All of the individual cards go for at least $30 to $50, pretty much no matter what, if it's from Japan, China, or Korea. All of those sorts of Christmas cards go phenomenally well. Excellent lot here, over $300. Now, military-wise, they printed them for everything, every country. This is a German one from World War II, and this is for a U-boat, a submarine from back in that time frame. You can see them again for anything. I've had them for U.S. battleships, destroyers, cruisers. I've had them for air bases, overseas as well as over here. I've seen them for Central Command, headquarters, all sorts of different things. This one's a fairly scarce one. This one sold for well over $200. This is something, again, that could be a GI bring back, found in an attic, just sitting there in a box of treasures that some soldier brought back after the war. Now here's a Robert Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy one here. Most of the ones that I see do have the image of the person in it. Very interesting, very unique. This was made just for him. Lots of decent artwork on it. It's kind of comical. There he is hanging off the back. There's the whole family. Really unique one here, to say the least. Psychedelic as well, as you can see, $225. Now, a lot of the vintage ones came in boxes. You would buy a whole box, would have envelopes and the cards. Sometimes it would have like notepads and things like that as well. This is a Marjorie Cooper, which is the artist. Now, Marjorie is very well collected. Rustcraft cards in themselves sometimes can go for some good money. Now, this is a box that is missing some as well. It's missing 5. It should have 25. It only has 20. So even being not complete, just this box of Christmas cards went for $224. This is something that you could see out in the wild and not have any clue whatsoever that this is that old, that this carries that kind of value. It doesn't look like much to someone who doesn't know Christmas cards. Now, here's another one. This one dates to the 1920s or 30s. This one sold for $220. This is just a single card. There's a front and a back. It doesn't fold. It doesn't open. There's no envelope to it. It's the artwork, the design, the style, and the maker itself that makes this one worth well over $200. To many people, all of these just look like normal Christmas cards and nothing special. The design, the era that this was printed in is why it's so valuable. Now, fantasy Christmas cards are all the rage these days. They are going for some phenomenal prices. This one's fairies and owls looking onto them. Thompson is the artist. It's well signed. This is a known artist. It's from a known series. Most of these fantasy-related ones had a ton to the series. You might see a half a dozen to some of these lots. I've had many of these. They turn up in postcard lots, attics, estate sales. I've even seen them at flea markets, antique malls, and local live auctions. This one sold for $213. Now, another area in Christmas cards are ones that were done by actual artists or creators of things. This one's signed. This is a Hayes original here. Now, this one's signed. It's by Hayes. It's a very nice original one here. Very, very scarce. He signed it, hand-painted it, looks like, as well. So this is one of those oddball ones. It's a known artist. It's a local artist. It's local church here with a cemetery as well. He's signed some information on the inside also. $204. When you see a signature on the actual artwork for the Christmas card and you have the same signature on the inside, you should really take a close look at it, because many times those can be some very valuable ones. This is from 1978 as well, so it's not even super, super old. Now, in the Victorian era, they also had metamorphic cards. This is what you would see just looking at the card here. The girl's sleeping. She's sleeping, and we'll see her dreams up here. As you open the card up, it transforms into a different image. And it's Santa Claus holding a bunch of toys, doll, horse, and the whole works. The other side would have advertisement on it. Now, all the ones of these that I have personally run into have all had advertising for coffee and food sort of items in them. This one sold for almost $150 as well. Now, another area are ones from businesses, corporations that actually printed cards for their employees as well. Sometimes they had main well-known artists and designers design them. This is a very fine example, to say the least. It does look to be early, circa 1910 or so. It's almost arts and crafts mixed with a Art Deco era. because of the maker and the company itself as well. This one went for $174. Now, a whole nother fantasy era for Christmas are the ones with hidden images. This is a very well-known one. I've actually found a copy of this one myself in some postcards not too long ago. If you look very carefully, and you really have to see it from a distance, it's Santa Claus's head kind of relaxing. If you turn the card vertical instead of the horizontal the way it's running, you'll easily see it. But the town you see here creates his nose, his eyes, and his mouth. And the snowy mountains down from there are his beard. Very nice one here. This is something that a lot of people may miss because they may not realize what the image is. Now, there are postcard versions of this one as well. This one has been around since the Victorian era, 1870s, and I've seen it as late as the 1920s. Now, here's another interesting one in my book. Now, this is made to look like it's two cards stacked up on each other, but it's actually one single piece of paper. And it's anthropomorphic monkeys playing pool, and on top of that, you have more anthropomorphic frogs watching the whole game occur. It's a Christmas card. This is typical of this era. Very nice, very unique. It sold for $169. Now, a large amount of these sorts are from England. Many are made by Raphael Tuck or another company called Prang as well. The majority of the folks buying these sorts right here are usually from England, the UK. Now, here's another example by a well-known artist, illustrator, Robert Lawson. Again, it looks like any other card you would find out there. You would have to dig into this one a little bit to realize that. It's an interesting shape, though. It's got a lot of interesting features for it, too. His name is signed down there in the bottom. He's well known. You could have looked that person up as well. So it's something that will sell for some good money. Now, this isn't his personal card. This is a card that somebody else bought to send to somebody else. Now, here's another interesting one. This is by Frank Willard, and he did the cartoon character Moon Mullins. From the 1920s, it was around probably for 30 or 40 years or better. You can still find some Moon Mullins items still to this day out in the wild. This is his own actual card. And what he actually did was had them printed in black and white, and then from there he hand watercolored all of the coloring onto the card. It was a cheaper alternative. Nothing wrong with that. It doesn't take very long just to add a simple wash of colors. Chances are I did a whole bunch at the same time. I've seen many like this, including some Disney ones also. Every studio, every film company, every artist out there printed a massive amount of these sorts. They did them every single year. So you've got the lifespan of some of these folks that did these sorts of cards. So potentially there could be 10, 20, 50,000 of some cards from some artists similar to this one here. How many are left, though, is the question, but enough of them were printed where they still do turn up. Now, here's another example of something that you may miss. It doesn't look like much. It looks to be a real engraved image that's been impressed in here. And then probably, again, maybe hand-colored also. The interesting fact on this one is that it's from Rudolph Valentino, a very, very well-known Hollywood movie star from the Silent Age. Extremely well known. This is the real deal. Nothing special about it in the looks of it. You would have to see the name to actually know this means anything. So again, if you're just looking at the faces and you don't check out this sort of thing, you're going to walk right by this. There's one for pretty much any artist, any performer. Elvis had them. They're still making Christmas cards from famous people right this second, and those sorts can almost always sell for some phenomenal money. This card here went for $455 and some change. It had many, many bids. Here's another example. This card is from Jim Henson Studios. This is a Kermit the Frog Christmas card from the studios. Designed by them, custom printed, I am sure. We can see the inside here as well. Jim Henson Productions, keep it green. This is the real deal. It's not signed. Doesn't have to be used, signed, or anything. And in fact, if you look right now and say Terapeak or on eBay, you're going to see a bunch of these that sold for some big money. This one went for $431. It's from 1989. Now, here's an interesting lot. This is from De La Rue, which is a very well-known British printer. Now, some of their cards can go for hundreds, if not $1,000 or more. Interesting topic. This is rats actually trying to do physical harm, obviously, to the cat. They've got a noose. One's got a meat cleaver. The next one from this very same series is after they actually killed the cat and are about to eat it. So it's an interesting topic. Chances are there was more from this very same series, 6 cards, 8 cards, a dozen, all going along with this very same theme. Now this lot here, these 2 cards sold for over $400 with many, many bids. They do show up. There are many different versions of these. De La Rue made hundreds, if not thousands, of different fantasy-related cards going all the way back into the 1860s, even before that time frame. Now another way to sell cards too, when you get a whole bunch that aren't worth as much as the ones we showed you, would be to put together a big lot of 500 or so all together. On average, you can usually get $200 or $300, as this one here sold for these big lots. You can also mix match. Throw a few Christmas in there with some less valuable ones, and they usually move very quickly. So if you take a look on eBay, you're going to find a bunch of these sorts in lots, in this quantity, selling for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You can find hundreds of these cards just from one single garage sale, estate sale, or auction, pretty much any time you wish. Now, another thing that many people may miss on Christmas cards are the books of Christmas cards. What you mostly want are the salesman's samples. And there were hundreds and hundreds of these made. These aren't some oddball things. Every city had somebody going around, if not more than one person, traveling around to all the local businesses, offering them Christmas cards for their sales for that year. Every year they put out a new book advertising the cards that they made, and that's what you're going to find in these sorts of books. Usually unique, usually a lot of interesting ones. They are ones that do show up, so these aren't like some fantasy pieces here. Some of them give you the name of the artist that did them. Other information is here too. You can find varieties of these books. They're usually in a bookshelf. They're not found with the Christmas cards. Now, most main companies who printed Christmas cards did the exact same thing. This is a 1956 Hallmark Catalog of cards, and inside of it were actual versions of the cards that you could buy from them, as well as a price, and many times they included a order form so you could order them. Sometimes a stationery store would have had their own version of this that they could offer to show to their customers. So these can be found out there. That's not a one-off. It's not a super scarce item. They are worth some good money, though. Almost all of these sell for $100+ any day of the week. Now, one last piece here. This is an advertising poster advertising that a store sold Prang's Christmas cards. Very fancy, very well detailed. This is from 1886. It's a larger size. It's not a Christmas card, so to speak. This would have hung in, say, a stationery store, advertising in the window that you could get your Prang's high-class, fancy Christmas cards at their location. It's a fabulous piece of artwork here, fabulous piece of advertising. This one went for $300. It does have some issues, as it says as well, with some of the corners, but it's just a fabulous, rare item, to say the least. Well, there we have it. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Howdy. Merry Christmas. By now you know I'm the star of this Yuletide show. But only for one day, you see. The rest of the year is yours to be. So be good to the young ones you hold so dear. Into every day, put a little Christmas cheer. Be proud of the family and the family tree, from the oldest to the one on his knee. So to Grandpa and Grandma, sister and brother, uncle and aunt, father and mother, this wish I bring, that you love each other. Merry Christmas.